because the frame rate and everything was so dog during the actual gameplay, I actually ended up skipping and ignoring this so I could watch it pretty much blind. Here, instead, watching the video on its own. I have a lot of positive opinions about the end of this arc of Honkai Impact 3rd, but I'll talk about them after. This, though, I'm anticipating because I just didn't have the chance to properly watch it because, one, I play on tablet, and two, even not on tablet, apparently it was bad for people to watch the cinematic when it came to in-game. So, watching on YouTube, for me, seemed a lot more realistic.
当一个人真正想改变世界的时候，才会发现个人的力量是多么渺小。
Gotta give them credit for their
胜利民众
animation.
付出了一切，可换来的却是无情的镣铐和绞索。世界如此混沌，它既不公平。
His lines about Teresa making her overseer coat really stung. Oof.
它迫害英雄，
Wrongs heroes, yeah it does.
滋养恶类，
And yeah, it breeds scum too.
丑陋遍地，美好无存。
We're seeing basically the complete opposite of what Kiana / Siren accomplished last
就
time.
有恶神来斩断了。
Nice. This is really funny to me because I never ever believed in a million years that I would actually be cheering for Otto. I never hated him. I understand why the community did. Don't get me wrong. He is very morally detestable, but he's very real in a way, and he has done good along with the bad, just his bad actions are really severe. He groomed the actual Kiana into a position of servitude. And I know that grooming as a word is used with sexual connotation usually, but I mean like in the sense of he planned out her entire life, and Jesus Christ, this guy can move, alright.
这是他和每天之间的距离，
Nice.
这是世界对他的无情反叛。
Ooh, that infection spread, alright. The Beast Flower. So he's used both of the weapons of the family he fucked over. And there we go, alright. I'm wondering what the hell to call these creatures / things. Because they remind me of constructs, like how Huskies, but at the same time they also really don't. It's clearly imaginary, but what would they technically be? And he's using Fuhua's weapons / leisures as well, you know. Two people he's fucked over. A hive. Well, aren't you a big enemy? And aren't you as well? Imagine being like set up for a noose and all these people are hoarding around you for your death, and you're like, I'm gonna protect them anyway. Fuck that. She's a better person than I am. Absolutely not. Oh, Judah! Yeah, it's over, Judah. Let's go. What are you gonna do with it? Are you gonna club it? He's used it like a shotgun. I want a Teresa class to do that now. That'd be absolutely amazing. Imagine. Because eventually, I assume she's the most likely candidate for Herrscher corruption. Oh. Okay. Oh, the parallel, them both fighting. Oof, alright. He's going for it. He's bloody cut. Oh! Oh, okay. What the hell? Oh! What's with this game and hurting me with the sound? It's like with the crunching of the bones last time. Really? Ah! Ah, no! Oh! He just rendered his arm out. No! Oh! Fucking hell! Game! First it was Fuhua's and Bronya's bones snapping like twigs, now it's this? Ugh. Ah. Ah. He won. That was fucked. I hated that so much. Okay, so what's going on here? Oh! Oh, he's winning! And there's his victory. She's alive. I don't know whether this is really selfish or not, because what he's done is incredibly awful. Don't get me wrong. But it wasn't really for his own sake, it was for hers, for someone he... Oh, that's cute as hell. For someone he loves. Someone he treasures so much. And he's a victim of it, in the end. Don't rip off Himiko's line, nah. I'm not accepting that part, but... This is the most selfish thing one can do. Ooh. Okay. Aww. The music, though. The ebb and flow of the crowd, flood the world and paradise along the path. Oh, that symbolism's fucked. He's now able to move forward, but she's gone as a result. Every night brings a dream of the day. Oh, those words! Oh, Fuhua was seen. Welt, Teresa and Amber, Clown and Veneris. Oh, fuck you, bitch! Nah, leave her alone. Ah, Kevin, you look good. Oh. That song, the song's lyrics are hurting. Alright. That visual pan up, the... oof. Pretty as hell. And he got his wishes. So the shooting stars are very nice. Oh! That's cute. Oh, he won't even get to, like, face up to her, though, will he? Oh. Alright. Oh, that's over. Okay. Wow, that song's lyrics are painful and bitter. And the thing that makes me even sadder is, like, for me... This song could probably also apply for Kevin, and I'm expecting him to be the next one involved in, like, a cinematic like this. Since the next arc, we see Mei confronting the will of Honkai and questioning it, And obviously there's Elysian Realm too. The identity of the Will of Honkai is still a massive question mark. It's most likely Elysia, but it could just as easily be one of the other Flame Chasers, or it could be someone actually not a part of the Flame Chasers but tied to Moth. Any of them would make sense. So for me, eventually, once that identity is put out there, whether it be revealed in Elysian Realm or like in the very next bit of story we get, like the end of May's conversation / interaction with it, Kevin's the next one whose aims actively impact the rest of the world. And while his ambition is definitely to combat Honkai as well, his is by modifying humanity, which would conflict with everyone else's ideals, aside from May's in a way, because she's working under him, and that was the route she took to be able to help her friends. So we're in this awful position where, you know, he's maybe gonna die or give up his life or something painful for like the pretty much humanity's hero, even though he hasn't done anything in front of us that is worthy of him being addressed as such. Lore-wise, he has done so much for humanity. It's just within the story itself, we've only seen the negative impacts of his actions. He's lost more than anyone. Elysian Realm is like our introduction into his past, because a lot of people didn't read the manga. I've seen it, and I felt bad for him anyway. Imagine May, of all people, seeing flashbacks of his life before all of this, where he was just hopelessly in love with this nerdy girl who he would harass to get the attention of. I want to see that. I want to see flashbacks of that, and maybe a discussion about it as well, because Kevin's not beyond a person anymore. He's just in a lot of pain. This cinematic itself, I've got to admit, throughout I rooted for Oto. I think this is a very satisfying conclusion to him. And in a way, I'm also kind of glad that he is now out of the way, because he needed to be dealt with somehow, and I didn't see him lasting until the very end of the game. I'm kind of glad he didn't, because this means now Schicksal is no longer in our way, so we can focus on the big enemy, which is World Serpent, if it's even going to be an enemy in the end, and Honkai itself, on discovering what it is. And we now have all the research that Schicksal put towards finding out things about each at our disposal. Good. In a way, the message behind Oto's entire pursuit is the idea that a miracle can be born from anger just as much as it can be from love, which I still hate that mentality he had about the Hersher of the Void, because he was wrong. Love wasn't what stopped Sirin that day, it was Himiko's sacrifice in the injection. Afterwards it encouraged her to change, but love wasn't going to stop the Hersher of the Void from killing people. Himiko giving her a hug didn't stop her getting close to her. It was injecting her with the with the cure for Honkai infection. That was what saved her. So it's really weird to me that Oto genuinely ever thought that, hey, making this Hersher like people might stop this. No, it didn't. It was someone loving her that stopped it. Himiko was the one who performed miracles that day, not Kiana / Sirin. She was going to likely end the entire world, and Himiko stood up to the plate and decided that was what was important to her. Meanwhile, Oto's anger, because of his love for Callan, that has transcended in a way where he was willing to sacrifice absolutely everything for just the chance for a world to exist where she got to live out a full life. The question I have is, how does that impact the him of that world? Would the Oto that technically existed within that present time still exist, considering the line after this is Callan saying goodbye to her inventor? Was it just the Oto of our present that ceased to be, or is it that Oto too, and he no longer exists within that timeline and sacrificed himself completely for her sake? Either way, it doesn't take away from his sacrifice. I'm just genuinely curious about that. But regardless, if he's still alive. I personally think that that should at least lead to him and Callan having only good things to say. Because, yeah, he screwed up. He definitely did. And I definitely blame him for a lot of bad stuff in this story. Not like bad as in bad writing, just bad as in negative conclusions for actions. That sort of bad. I blame him for like 90%. I'm joking. But I'd say it's valid to say 60 to 70% of the bad things that happen within this story have actually been his fault, which is really funny. He's the human face we can pin the blame on, and he even owns that. He knows what he's done is irredeemable. And he just has to live with that, and he's made his peace with that well in advance, because in the end, all that matters is now if he succeeds or not. He's accomplished what he set out for, and that's good, I think. Was it worth all the heartache? For him it definitely was, but for the others I doubt it. But they've made their peace on it too, even Bianca/Kiana, who is his biggest victim. And one thing on that one, I actually really like the fact that Rita's known all along that she is Kiana Caslana. I really like that because it kind of adds an extra dimension towards all of their interactions since the very beginning. She'll have always known that this girl is thinking that she's on her own and has no one else in the world, and is genuinely offering her to have that opportunity, as well as genuinely looking out for her well-being. I really like their dynamic, and the fact she's always known makes it better in my opinion, not worse. I think that, yeah, she could have told her, but so could Ragnar. Ragnar, if anyone, I fault way more than Rita in this position. Rita really was a subordinate who I doubt could have ever gotten away with refuting what Otto was saying. Meanwhile, Ragnar probably could have argued back, but didn't. She questioned it, but she didn't stop it. She accepted that was the way things were going to go. Yeah, refuting would have probably made her ending come a lot sooner, but you could have been that glorious Valkyrie that people look up to, and you chose not to. It might be just my outlook on it. We know she's done some amazing things for people, just... It's a shame, because we have amazing Valkyries like Himiko and Rita, who each look up to her, but in the end, she was complacent. We would have expected someone like that to stand against Otto's idea or recommend a different course of action, or say that it's a bit too far. Yeah, it might not have done anything, but at least she would have tried. Here she didn't. She was complacent and allowed it. And then it happened, and now we have Bianca, who now knows the truth of her heritage and has the hopes of saving hers and Siren's dad. And I love the fact that she considers it their father, despite, in a way, Kiana/Siren. I kind of want to call her just Siren for convenience, but referring to Bianca as Kiana will confuse the narrative a bit, because we know in the story Siren is getting that name. It's nice that she's kind of accepted her, despite, in a way, Siren's living the life that she should have been all along. The one surrounded by people like her aunt, who she just saved the life of as well. Who she'll probably interact far less with than Siren will. Siren got the opportunity for a fresh start, and that's a very lovely thing. But Bianca doesn't spite her for it, and that's really mature, because most people wouldn't feel that. And yeah, as an adult you kind of just have to accept the cards you're given, but it doesn't take away all the pain she would have felt for all the years. And so just making peace with that and thinking, in a way, that's my younger sister, that's lovely, and that's such a good message to give out in this game. But anyway, that's enough of my rambling for a bit. I am very much anticipating the next part of the story. The song in this impressed me actually more than the visuals, and I'm looking forward to listening to it again. I'm downloading that. But oh my god. The lyrics of "Every night brings the dream, but the days relentlessly keeps me awake." Ugh. That's... More than one character has felt that through this story. I think all the characters have felt that at some point in this story. It's just a universal feeling a pain that anyone can empathize with. Just the idea that things were better before and you can dream about it, but you're never going to be able to go back to that point. Time marches on and it's really cruel, but unfortunately that's just the way it is. It's nice to see also the aftermath where the characters were kind of, they didn't hate Oto, they judged him heavily. I'm kind of surprised in a way that Siren doesn't hate Oto, but she's matured a lot, so fair. But Fu Hua, I expected her to at least not really want to discuss it, considering he shot her. And she did actually kill him in a way too. Like, her sentience destroyed him, which is funny. But, and it was a very satisfying moment, don't get me wrong. It's interesting to see her look on that in retrospective and be like, okay, well, that's happened now, so I've got things to think about. Good. Good, move forward. And now she's going to have to probably confront one of her old friends, which makes me actually sad too.